Hi, this is Head and Shoulders ATR, where we cover athletes, performances, coaches, and otherwise that are head and shoulders above the rest. You see the topic today. We're going to get into Elaine Thompson-Herah fighting and her chances of breaking a world record this year, not 2022, but this year in 2021. But before we get into that, I got to shout out to some honorable mentions here because people are already counting out Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. That's going to be another topic for a video, but we got a lot of things. You can still be a great athlete. You can still be a great performer. As in, here's Shanae Miller-Uibo, two-time 400-meter champion. Here's Seidel of the United States. She has gotten a surprise bronze on behalf of the United States. We got the man, the myth, the legend that has been there with his drip right here, Eliud Kipchoge of Kenya, who has also been here from Athens, just like Allison Felix. He's been there, Paris 2013 World Championships. I believe he was 17 or 18. He was the world champion in the 5,000 meter run, outkicking the legend Hisham El Garouj. And here we go with Allison Felix. Let's look at this right here. Allison Felix ending off her Olympic career with a third place medal in the women's 400. Let's give her a round of applause as well. And here she is. She's looking like Granny Felix. She's Granny Felix sitting in the chair and everything. I already know some people are going to be angry. They're going to say, oh, you talk about Granny Felix. Hey, did you say anything about that time when the World Athletics website made Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce look like a turtle? Like, yeah, we called that out on that image too. We were like, wow, she looks like a turtle. Now, getting back to today's topic right here, we talking about the one, the only Elaine Thompson-Herah. She came here by storm. She destroyed the Olympic record in the 100-meter dash. She destroyed that, and she could have gone faster against a headwind. Who does that? Against a headwind. Remember, this Olympic record was not set against a headwind. This was a negative 0.6 headwind. For the people that are normies, they're not familiar with track, they only keep up during especially during world championships or the Olympics. Just to let you know, look, if you were going against, let's put this in context, if you were running against the wind, every time you increase your speed, double your speed, it's like the wind is going against you by let's just say you were in a car, you went 10 miles an hour, right? The wind was 0. Then you go to 20 miles an hour. Now, at that point, the wind is going against you by double. That's how the force usually works. Now, I'm overly simplifying this. We got the scientific nerds here. They're going to be like, well, technically, it's 1.8976. So what? Look, double. Okay, that's what we're going to say. Or it's 2.56 double. This is for the people to overly simplify this. Now, here's Elaine Thompson-Herah. She's over here celebrating. And she's like, yeah, who can touch me? I'm surprised a little bit, but I kind of expected this, but I'm kind of sort of surprised and everything. Pointed at the time, could have leaned, could have got it, could have been the first female athlete to go into the 10.5s legally. Although Flojo went underneath 10.5, it was like, skip that, went straight to 10.49. But anyway, there she is. She's got the potential. And guess what? She could go faster, especially in a one-off race. Remember that. These were rounds. These athletes were getting tired. They had to run through those. And let's go to this list right here. Let's go to this list right here. The women's 100-meter dash on the top list here in 2021. So nobody ever forgets that, right? So here's Elaine Thompson-Herah at the top. Look at this, negative 0.6. That's unheard of. Shericka Jackson also could go faster because she was in a negative 0.6 with her PR. Think about that. Marie-Josee eased it up. She was looking around, all around her, and you know how hard it is to look around. Try to run full speed and then look around, look all around again, and then look a third time and turn your body semi all the way around, and then try to run your best time right there. That's what she did and eased it up. Now, unfortunately, she burned herself out during the rounds, and yeah, whatever. So with that being said, Elaine Thompson-Herah, let's look at what she could potentially do. In order to do that, let's look at her progression. Then we're going to break down some other things about how fast Elaine Thompson-Herah can actually go. And remember, her top end speed is faster than Flojo's top end speed. And she did it against the headwind. Wait a minute. Wait, stop the presses right now. Remember, her top end speed is faster than the world record holder. Think about it like that. She was going against ahead. Wait a minute. You about to make me just collapse with that one. When we get informed of that stuff, you're gonna make me collapse. Like, what? I know a lot of people that are hating. They wanted to see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Yes, I wanted to see Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce get one more medal for the selfish reason of, hey, look, that'll cement her as the greatest of all time for sure. Now, she still would have that lead just because of the world championships and everything. But if Elaine Thompson-Herah keeps her health, keeps this up, she can be then taking over that from Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, right? So we're going to see. Time will tell. But right now, when she's at this fitness, she is untouchable right now. Remember, she only lost one race this year, and that was the race at the Jamaican Championships against Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. Other than that, win, 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 one loss, win, win, win. There she is. She has been undefeated other than one time during this year. That's how we knew she was on fire. But think about it like this. She was really ahead. This is what they got me looking like. They got me over here looking confused, like what they are. They're like, huh? What's going on? They caught them in the mid section of a picture or whatever and snapped it or a video. And then it's like, huh? Yeah, that's how I'm looking. I'm like, wait a minute. What? So she ran against the wind. So the wind isn't just neutral. It's not blowing to your back or anything like that. It is blowing against you. Okay. And she's faster than Flojo. Imagine if she got a 0.0 wind, right? There we go. So let's look at her progression after all of that was being said. Okay, so here's her 60 meters. She had 7.35, 7.32, 717. All right. Okay, cool. 702, right? And then 724. Then she's got a 731 this year. Interestingly enough, this is the outdoor performance. They're like, wait a minute, outdoor? Yeah, you can do 60 meters indoor, and then they have some outdoor. Here we go right here, 704, 698. You notice that she's got a faster 60 meters indoor. And it could be because it's wind neutral. There's a lot of elements that you deal with outdoors that you don't deal with now. So she doesn't have a 60 meter indoor just because of maybe the lockdowns that were happening this year and everything like that. Obviously, Jamaica's had more of a lockdown than other nations have had, a little bit more strict. So they're dealing with that. They're dealing with a lot of things. So it's not a lot of chances to get into things. Now, let's look at her 100 meter progression. Let's just start here when she took the world by storm and she beat Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, a 1070, or actually we can go the year before, 84, 1070, 1071. Okay, she's got the consistency, but then she was struggling through injuries. We got to give a little bit here. I know she said in the interview she hasn't been a mental case or a head case or anything like that. Yes, part of it is a head case because if you can smash down really fast times, even if you're injured. We got to think about Michael Johnson. He set the world record in the 200 while dealing with the hamstring injury, slipped out of the blocks and still obliterated the record. We got to acknowledge that he was still dealing with an injury when he set the 400 meter dash world record. Now we got to think about other people that have had injuries and all types of things. Eliud Kipchoge lost a shoe in a marathon, or he lost the sole, the insole of a marathon, ran one of the fastest marathons ever without that. And if you think about it, hey, okay, the insole of the marathon shoe or your shoe could give you some spring back. So it's kind of like, okay, wow, this person is still able to run this fast. He didn't change anything. He did sustain some pains and injury or something after that. He had to go through that and deal with that on the back end. But it was like, hey, it wasn't affecting him to the point where he didn't acknowledge it. You could still do that. He still won the race and he still went through. We got to acknowledge that somebody that's injured can still go through. She was blasting out times. Bikey made her a shoe that was there. We got to acknowledge that. Okay, 1093. All right, she wasn't there. It's an off season. If you look at Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, even during this year, I think she was down, or maybe she didn't run because she was pregnant. We forgot she was pregnant during 2017. Decided to have a child and everything, and then she came back here and whatnot. Okay, so anyway, 1073, she got there and beat Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce in 2019. Then, of course, we know what happened after that. She wasn't looking so hot, and then Fraser-Pryce became the world champion. 1085. Then it's a 1061 against a headwind. Okay, now let's look at her performances in the 200 because she could potentially break the world record in the 200 as well. So it's 2166 that she got in 2015. That's why I wanted to highlight the year before in 2015 when she became the silver medalist at the World Championships. That's when Daphne Skippers beat her from the Netherlands. I believe she ran a 1062 or 1063 skippers. Now there is no question about who's faster between the two. Then she ran a 2178. That's legit. Became a double Olympic champion. Okay, let's give her that round of applause right there. All right, so it was a 100 and 200, something that Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce herself would not be able to do. Okay, now defeating, you know who she defeated. Let's not bring it up because people will get butthurt here and then say you're a hater. Look, she defeated everybody else in the world. Allyson Felix has gotten a silver medal in the 400 during the Rio Olympics. All right, now in the 400. Now this was a 200 here. Now, we don't have to keep bringing up different things. All right. 2198. All right. 2017. All right. That was in Eugene, which they say, oh, it's a fast track. Okay. Cool. Right. I guess. Now, 2230, 22 flat. All right. 2153. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Okay. And she said she could still go faster. Now, this one, she was so far ahead of everybody else. I mean, she just kind of eased it up. You could tell in the last 35 or so meters, she was just easing it up. And she's like, look at the celebration right there. Let's give a front shot of that same one right there. Look at the celebration that she got going on. She's sticking out her tongue. She's like, hey, I got everybody and everything. So with that being said, look, she has got this. All right. She has got this. Now, let's look at where she can go. One last thing, let's look at her results. The reason why the results are important in this 100 is because she is on fire this year. Remember when people were talking about Sha'Carri Richardson, she's running 1075, 1072, 10.7 something here, blah, 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 so on and so forth, right? Well, let's look at Elaine Thompson-Herah. Opened up with an 1121. They're like, oh, whatever, that's not spectacular or anything. Then she had the 1076, but with that tailwind, the legal for people that don't follow track and field like that, anything over a 2.0. And I'm telling you, if you got a 1.0 to and then you compare that with a 2.0 time, that 2.0 time is going to be a lot more boosted than that 1.0 time, even if they're the same exact time. But it's legal up to 2.0. That's where they find it at. OK, there's nothing that's illegal about about the a headwind. Okay, the negative times, that could be a negative 100. At that point, man, you in a typhoon or something like that, you won't even be able to run. But it could be a -5, -6 or whatever, and they still will let them run. Okay, it's still legal. So with that being said, now let's just go 1076. Okay, it wasn't legal, but then she was in a legal time right here. Okay, legal time right here, same track, 1078 with a 1.8. So that means this effort right here was harder for her to do, and she ran almost the same time. Wow. Okay, let's just imagine if she ran that same effort here, would it have been a sub 10.7? Who knows? But anyway, then she had a boost again, 1090 something, still undefeated. Notice place 111. This is the only one. Third place, 1111. She's on fire. When you're on fire as an athlete, you want to see the best and max you can do in that season. There's no guarantee that she can bring this fitness back next year, as we know the history of her struggling with mainly injuries, a little bit of a head case, just a little bit. And you got to admit, when somebody's injured and they know that they are, they're probably a little bit distracted with that, hoping that they can get through that. And sometimes that pressure gets to them. Sometimes that is part of the issue. We can't eliminate that being injured and then dealing with that and thinking about that is part of the thing. Even David Rudisha, he got hurt. He still became the world champion. He defended his Olympic title after he had set the world record in the 800 at the Olympics. And he had to admit that he was dealing with a little bit of a confidence issue because he wasn't at his full fitness and everything like that. So, but he still was able to win. He was still able to win. We got to admit these things. Okay. Now she's running all in the 10.7, 10.8s, 10.9s. And then she's still able to put out and win, right? Then she comes here. Barely any wind to her back. 1082, look very relaxed. 1076, look very relaxed. Then she came with a 1061. Still looked like she could go faster. Now, here's where I estimate. I know we got this far into the video. Some of you already went to sleep. Some of you cut off the video, and some of you were like, "Hater, he mentioned something about my great goddess Alice and Felix. I'm so hurt. Clutch my pearls." Now, here we go. All right. He called her Granny Felix. Okay, I'm done with that. I believe that in the 100, let's give her a positive 0.6. Remember, that means that's like her getting a 1.2 boost behind her. And remember how we looked at this time. For the people that are familiar with my YouTube channel, we have already broken down that most of the top times will have a 1.3 to a 0.8 tailwind. Tailwind for them for the top times in most years. Now, it is a little bit different year by year, but if you average them together, I went and number crunch this. Now, somebody might number crunch and get something a little bit different, but this is what I found, especially when you look at the top 50 list and then you go to the top 100, it's a slight difference, but it's close enough where I'm still going to stick to the 0.8 to 1.3. So let's get her a results. Let's get her a 1.2 equivalent, like this one right here, where she ran this 1087, right? Now, if we get her the equivalent to this, that will be a 0.6 plus. There we go. We see the 0.6 plus. Since she was in a negative, you add those two together. I think with that alone, she's probably running somewhere, and then she runs all the way through. She has the exact same race that she had in Tokyo. Now, apparently that is a faster track than the ones before. So she's got to get on a fast track. What better place to do it than at Prefontaine, than to, Prefontaine and run against, who's going to be there and drop the world record on her head. But I think if she gets Prefontaine is either going to have an extreme tailwind or an extreme headwind, because it's a semicircle. If it's a semicircle, that builds the wind to only come out in certain directions. Okay. Now, let me give you the time that I think she's going to run. With the 0.6, I think that she can run potentially between a 10.53, and if she has an on-fire race, right? If she has an on-fire race, I think a 10.53 to a I think a 10.53 would be something that she could run if she had the same race that she had in Tokyo, but then she actually leaned. Now, if she didn't have the rounds in her legs, I think that's what I'm also building in here as well. So let's say that she had a little bit more, a 0.8, all right, or a 1.3. Let's give her that. Let's give her some range there. Knowing that it's at Prefontaine, they're probably going to be close to almost a legal tailwind. She could go, I think, the max ability at this point, what I've seen of her, is a 10.47, 10.48. She might even match the world record. But I think I'm going to go bold right here, is that her max ability from what I've seen of her is a 10.47. She's got, and look, everybody, there's not a concrete agreement that 10.49 was the world record. That was, it's still kind of some contention. And you notice even the announcers barely ever highlight it or anything like that. They just really don't. Even when Carmelita Jeter was running as fast as she did, they were maybe saying, wow, she can challenge the Olympic record and everything like that. But they don't really bring it up. Now, they bring up other records. They still bring up Usain Bolt. They still brought up Michael Johnson's record. They still brought up other records on the men's and women's side where athletes were nowhere near as fast for plenty of years. But they don't bring up this one. This is what I noticed. Start putting all the videos together of the women's 100 and notice they rarely ever bring up FloJo's time, especially the British announcers. Now, they be bringing up all types of stuff and stats and figures, but they rarely ever bring that up. And there's a reason for it, because it's still kind of hotly debated. Now, with this being said, 10.47, 10.48 is where I think I can see her. Get her closer to a 2.0 as max close as you can. Because if we get to 2.0, some people are going to claim that the starters or the timers are going to say it was a 2.1. They just wanted a cheater. So how about we get a 1.8? And there is no way they could flub that up, or you could accuse the timers or anything like that. And I mean, who knows? Maybe it's an incentive that they do. I don't know. That's the thing that you guys throw out. Y'all can debate that one. Let's get her a 1.8. I think she can go even faster than that. right? I don't know what her max ability is. I can only see what her max ability is based on her rounds. If she did a one-off race, I can only imagine. But a 1053 to maybe a 1055 is where I can see her going. And I think she could go even faster than that. But then if we get her a little bit more of a tailwind, I think she can go a 1047. Now, let me show you here. This is what I want to show you on here on the annotation. Then I'm going to get to her 200 because it's going to depend on what. This is like how Oregon's track is. Like the stadium is set like this. It's a semicircle. So the wind blows in one direction essentially. And then there's some stuff right here that blocks things out. But it blows in one direction. It only can go out like this. So you notice that usually that the times there, right? The times are usually either a headwind that's pretty strong or a tailwind, because if it goes here, let's just assume that the 100 is on this side and then the track is going there. Obviously it'll be inside of here, but you just get what I'm saying. So it'll come in this way and go that way. That means they'll be running against a headwind, or it could be going this way and it will be inside the track, of course. And then because of how it's set up and how this track is set up, it could be an extreme headwind because there's only one direction. Now, most tracks are set up like this, where the stadium is essentially circling the track, right? And then you enter in. So that means it has to go over the walls and into the stadium, over the walls and into the stadium. And then it'll still have its headwind or tailwind here. Look, we break stuff down on this channel. Give us a like, a subscribe, because we're looking for 10,000 subscribers by now we're doing the end of September, sometime in October. We've moved it up. We're going full out. Now, with that being said, look, let's look at her 200. What can she do in the 200, right? What is Elaine Thompson-Herah going to do in the 200? Let's look at her win that she had in the 100, the women's 100. She's looking like that. I know Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is like, wow, I just tried everything I had. Sharika Jackson, surprise as well. Like, wow. And Elaine Thompson-Herah is now a two-time defending champion, and she's got a treble. Wow. No woman has done this. The 100 and 200, and then came back with a 100 and 200. Matter of fact, no woman at the Olympics has ever defended her 200-meter championship title. So she's a first in two categories. Wow. Anyway, with that being said, let's look at her 200. I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for her to do it because she wasn't consistent earlier, right? She was really upset with herself when she came to Great Britain. And then she ran that 22:43. You saw it. She was just disappointed. She thought she ran faster, but whatever her coach had to do the workouts, it really sandbagged her time. And I already knew. I was like, look, I'm not worried. I know she's going to break 22 seconds. Remember, on that video that I had in response to Flowtac leaving her out of the they should really be ashamed of themselves at this point. They left her out of the poll. And they said, who do you think could win the Olympic women's 200? They had Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, Miller-Uibo, all these other people, and then have the current, at the time, Rio champion in the poll. Like, wait a minute, you leaving her out? She's one of the fastest women in the world this year over the 100. You don't think she could put it together, at least a challenge? Come on now. That was just, no. She matched her PR here, and then she came by at 10:53 with a 0.8. Now, she said she could go a lot faster, particularly here. I think she might be able to go down even further with one round, knowing how much speed endurance you need in the women's 200. And she had all the rounds of the 100 before her. I'm going to make a bold claim here. I say that she runs a 21.3 low. I mean, a 21.32, a 21.3. I see her somewhere around there. I got to say that Elaine Thompson-Herah is going to be somewhere around that point. Now, you guys, and I think if that's what she does this year, that means she gets good conditions. She's having a great start like she normally does. She has compared to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, her start isn't as good, but she had a great start this last race. It was also Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce didn't have it with her, so it made it look even better with Elaine Thompson-Herah. But that was as close to a perfect women's 100 that I've seen happen, especially at a championship setting. So with that being said, from start, finish, and end, because Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce hasn't in the past at least had the best finish, even when she beat Carmelita Jeter. So with this being said, look, the woman has got it going on. 21.32 to 21.3. I say that if she's just having an average day or something is up with the wind, let's get her as much of a wind boost as possible too. If she's having an average day, she's going to be in the 21.4s. And that would actually be worse than her performance at Tokyo. Now they keep saying that the Tokyo track is this much of that such and such a boost or anything like that. While we also got people that have said that the track at Oregon is a boost or whatever, right? They said, oh, fast times. Okay, we saw people run faster times from Americans that have run in the form of Rod Benjamin and others at literally the Tokyo track. So now we can't say that. I think people are forgetting that people peak and then they associate that with the track. Look, I've been in sales before, and when you have an absence of concrete information, you can start lying to people, or you could, it wouldn't be lying because I'm not saying that the salesperson is lying. You could actually, you could skew some of the numbers while also telling the truth. Can the track technology improve? Yeah. Can the shoe technology improve? Yes. But one thing is, how much does it improve by? Because a 1% to 2% improvement, when I start crunching the numbers, that is major when it comes to a track and field time. It'll take somebody that's a 22 flat, and then it'll get them into the 21.8s or the 21.7s, really, when you really think about it. And potentially, there's a lot of difference with these times. That's a big difference. And we don't see those huge differences when it comes to championship to championship. No, not most of the time, right? So we could also dispute some of those claims where they said, well, they can give them there. But then you also got to factor in the temperature of the day, the timing of the day, what they had to do during the rounds, the shoes that they used at the time, the training that they had at the time. It is so many variables. That's where they have the confusion of information. And I'm telling you, when they have confusion of information, they can sell you anything. So at this point, we're not even going to look at it like that, because Doha was using, from their own website, they said they're using the same track that they're using in Tokyo. So if that's the case, we saw Doha times and these times, and that means if that's the case, well, if we take them at their word, which they still have it there on their website, right? I did my research on it. That means the athletes literally improved. That means the athletes use COVID or COVIDs to actually rest up and improve. Elaine Thompson-Herah would have been one of the ones that really benefited from that, because she was injured. She probably would have been training for the Olympics to defend her title, re-injured herself even more, didn't have enough time to rest up. But this was a blessing in disguise for Elaine Thompson-Herah, and it was one against Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at this point. I mean, it's just unfortunate how that worked out, because Elaine Thompson-Herah would have been the one that was injured this time, most likely, or something, because she would have been trying to get herself ready, and then Fraser-Pryce would have been the one healthy, and it would have been the shoe was on the other foot and flipped around. I would have loved to see both of them in Rio being head to head. I think at that time, Fraser-Pryce would have actually beat her had she not been injured. That's my opinion there. In the 100, 200, obviously Fraser-Pryce ain't got a hope in prayer. But with that being said, look, Elaine Thompson-Herah, top of the game, top of the marks. Let's give it to her. Let's give her a round of applause for what she's done. And I got a video coming up, guys, for the people that made it this far in. We got how Usain Bolt, Sha'Carri Richardson, and Elaine Thompson-Herah won the Olympics. Obviously, we can include Sydney McLaughlin. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of other athletes. But as far as these athletes, they won the Olympics, and potentially Karsten Warholm. I need to see more data from him. I think I'm going to have a separate topic, but be sure to click that video. For everybody that's watched and made it this far, be sure to click that video, because it's going to be a crazy one. I'm going to break down how two athletes that didn't even compete in the Olympics have won, and potentially won bigger than the athletes that actually competed. And you guys might be confused, but this channel is built in for athletes, performances, and otherwise. Remember the otherwise portion that are head and shoulders above the rest. You can definitely win while not even competing. And for those athletes that are master athletes, youth athletes that want to look to go to the next level, as far as they want to be able to be taken care of, that they have sponsorships that are not 100% tied to their performances, definitely check out this channel. We're going to talk about and go in depth about how we can go about doing that, especially if you become a patron, the second tier patron or above. And then we're going to do more in depth. That is coming soon. As soon as we start loading up our Patreon page, that's what's going to happen next. If you're a master's athlete and you got something, if you are especially if you guys got something to sell, like products or a small business or something like that, that can definitely, I can talk about the ways in which you can expand and get your name and get your word out there, get a following base. By the way, follow Elaine Thompson-Herah at Fast Elaine on Instagram, right? Go ahead and boost her up. That makes her deals that much sweeter and better. Then you get to follow one of your favorite athletes right there, and you hear it from the female's mouth, okay? I don't like the term horse's mouth because we know what happened with horses. They compare black people and all this other stuff. So it's going to come from the woman's mouth herself. She will let you know what her goals were, and she shared some of our goals up there. That was inspiring to me. So I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out, player. Thank you all that may have, if we're doing this as a premiere, super chatted in advance, donated via Cash App or PayPal, and definitely the people that have signed up for Patreon. We are growing. We are a growing family. I thank you all that are here that definitely understand that we can agree and disagree respectively, instead of, some people in our comment section have been calling people out of their name and swearing at them. And these athletes, and I intend to have athletes being interviewed on here. So we got to show them some respect here. We might talk about their head issues. We might talk about some of the failures that they have, but there is no amount of disrespect that will come out of my mouth to these athletes at all. Okay. Even if I don't even personally like that athlete because of things they've done off the track or maybe even on the track, you will not even be able to tell some of the athletes, because some of y'all think I don't like some people and I might actually like them. And the other ones, you can't even tell that I don't like them because I might talk about them all the time or whatever. So with that being said, keep your assumptions up and keep it going. Peace.